Good afternoon. Excuse me. I'd like to call this regular scheduled meeting of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners to order. At this time, we'll call on County Clerk Susan Mabry for the roll call, please, ma'am.
Chairman George Chambers.
Here.
Commissioner Montreal McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Clint Chin.
Here.
Commissioner Tommy Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Michelle Morgan. Here. Commissioner Lee Powers.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you all. At this time, we'd like to call on Commissioner Lee Powers for our invocation, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Tommy Lee.
Let us pray. Dear Lord Jesus, I just want to thank you for this great county that we live in, dear Father. Dear Father, just please be with each and every one of us as we conduct our business today, and let us do it in a godly manner, dear Father. And dear Lord, let's not us forget about the people that are protecting us far overseas, dear Lord. And I ask everything in Jesus' most precious holy name. Amen.
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 Let us stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? All opposed? Next, approval of the minutes of the work session of February 28th and the commission meetings of March the 5th. I look for a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion made. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? All opposed? Thank you. Now we're down to the public comment section. The public comments are reserved for comments from the public. There were sign-up sheets on the back table back here at the rear of the room, and we'll take them in the order that the comments were registered. The remarks of each speaker can be up to 3 minutes long. And the purpose of public comment is to allow you, the public, to voice county-related requests, concerns, and opinions. And we welcome and appreciate those. Please understand that most issues require some research and some staff time, and we will not be able to respond to your inquiry at that time. However, the sign-up forms have your contact information on them, and we will assign that to proper staff to get you an answer. At this time, the first person I have is Donald Brook. And if I mispronounce your name, I'll go ahead and apologize on any of these. But please state your name and address, please, sir.
My name is Donald Brook. My address is 3821 Shady Grove Road in Carrollton. Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners, I've spoken to y'all at this board twice on an ongoing issue that I've had for several years regarding an adjacent property owner who effectively has built a motocross track. His activity is within 300 feet of my back door. The noise, even as of recently, he decided to take a spin at 9:55 at night around part of his property. I've asked several times how the county considers things in the code and ordinances in relation to conditional use. I've asked and presented material about how other counties have dealt with similar issues with motorcycle noise and such. Tonight, I'm going to ask a question more so on not my particular situation, but how do citizens of this county present information that could be of great interest to the county and get the board to acknowledge that it has merit and to take action, whether through discussing enforcing existing codes, modifying current codes where they need to be modified, or creating new codes such as noise ordinance to cover situations like mine and others. Again, it has to be something of great interest to the county, but I need to understand from this board what that requirement is. Is it to have people fill the seats? Is it petition? So be it. I will do those things because I think this is something that people of the county, if they fully understood the extent of what I've been dealing with for 4 years, then more action would be taken. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next name I have is Scott Bates. Again, Mr. Bates, please state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Scott Bates. I live at 195 Daniel Road in Villa Rica. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. You're being handed a map of McIntosh reserves that might give you a better perspective while I cover the issue I'd like to talk about. We typically take our Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts to the McIntosh a couple of times a year to do campouts, and we have kids of all ages with us, all the way from toddler age up into high school. And one of the problems we've had that we've tried to address numerous times with the park staff is having some of the horse riders riding their horses through the camp areas, off the trails through the camp areas. In November of 2017, or October 2017 rather, we were on a packed family camp out down there in the P area, and some horses came through there, and we had some fresh droppings, and later that night some of our kids fell into those fresh droppings. So dealing with the mad moms and the nasty kids was not a pleasant experience for any of us. On all the occasions where these folks would ride through our camp, we would literally beg them to go around, especially since the trail does not go through the camp area, and they would all refuse and tell us how much right they had to ride through there. And quite frankly, this past June, I was told in a very vile manner to basically kiss off, not in that language. And it's gotten to the point now where with all the times that we've complained to the camp staff, and they're telling us that they are unable to speak to these folks to get them to respect our areas of the camp, it's gotten to the point now where the conflict is driving us into having to take care of the issue ourselves. And I don't think anybody really wants to get into that at all. Furthermore, when you look at the activity field that goes along the river, there's two sections to that activity field. There's a point just beyond the boat ramp that you see indicated in the RC airstrip on that big field where you can't take your vehicles past. The park staff doesn't mow that grass quite like they do the upper activity field, and it's more suited for horses to be grazing down there. No, instead, the horse community, they graze their animals on the upper part of the activity field, which is maintained for us to have our kids play on. Yet when we take our kids out there to play ball, frisbee, or whatever they're doing, they're having to dodge horse droppings, and it's really getting to be a challenge. I've spoken to Chairman Smith a number of times, and the one thing I did notice today when I drove down there that has been added since our last conversation is there is a sign put approximately in the place that's indicated on the map that marks the beginning of the horse camp area, indicating this is the horse camp area. Yet they still camp in other places where people camp with their kids and stuff like that, and we have the horse manure to have to deal with. So our request is we're going to be doing another packed family camp down there the last weekend of this month. We would really love to be able to go down there for the first time in quite a while and not have to worry about horse traffic through our camp, horse manure for our kids to be playing in or falling in or whatever. And that was what I wanted to speak to y'all about. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next person that signed up is Sam Duke. And Sam, if you'll state your name and address just for the record, please, sir.
My name is Sam Duke, 1836 West Highway 5, Carrollton, Georgia, 30117. Thank you, all of you, for what you do. I wouldn't want your job, and I do appreciate every one of y'all. I talked to most of y'all today, and I really appreciate everybody up there. So here's what I want to talk about. The county buys vehicles. They buy extravagant vehicles. They buy Rolls Royce. They buy $200,000 vehicles. No, they buy what it takes to get the job done. They buy Crown Vic, back when they were making them. They buy F-150 or GMC pickup truck. Well, what I'm talking about is these tractors. I don't mind you buying John Deere tractors. I'm co-owner of a New Holland dealership, but I don't mind you buying John Deere tractors. They're great. But the issue is it's $715,000, and you can get this exact same equivalent, spec for spec, pound for pound, and I've got everything to provide for y'all to see that. Just for me, for $160,000, but you don't have to buy it from me. But just because somebody wants John Deere, somebody requests John Deere, and I know that's all they requested, and that's what you put out to John Deere, and all the, I's were dotted and T's were crossed, and all that's fine. I'm not upset about any of that. I just think this is a county's money. This is a taxpayer's money, hard-earned taxpayers' money. We're going to spend an extra $160,000, $170,000 when it doesn't have to be spent. And that's what I want to talk about, and I just want to see what you do, and I respect every one of you, and I think you'll make the right decisions. But that's what I want to talk about, and I just think it's something that we need to discuss and not just bang a gavel and buy them because someone wants John Deere and we can buy John Deere. I think that we need to look at it. It needs to go out to bid to other manufacturers besides John Deere. It don't even have to be me, but it needs to go out to bid, and we need to look at it and go from there. That's what I'm here for. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next name I have is Larry Coors. And again, if I mispronounce it, I apologize, sir.
Larry Coors,
Okay.
you're correct. 115 Maple Valley Drive, Villa Rica, Georgia. Also, 528 Harlan Lane Road, Villa Rica, Georgia, which is where my farm is, which is why I come to talk to you tonight about item 9.2 on your agenda, which is the tractors. And I asked you to table the issue simply because you have not placed these items out for bid and you have not spec'd them out correctly to be able to put them out for bid. You should take the opportunity that you have available to you to place the items out for bid so that you can best spend the taxpayers' dollars. Granted, this is special purpose local option sales tax money. That is what we get to give you for your, what I call boy toys. And these are things that you get to go buy, these big trucks and tractors and backhoes and lifts and things like this. It also is squad cars at the sheriff's office. It is also a renovation at the Parks and Recreation. And the jail needs an updating and upgrading too on its inmate and safety system inside the jail. All this can be saved and can be appropriated, and you can save your money and splosh and apply it over from the tractor purchase that you're going to make tonight, and you can go buy approximately 4 new squad cars. Unfortunately, they're $28,000 each now. Not 22, but 28. Pricing went up. The sheriff's office desperately, desperately, desperately needs your attention. The roads need your attention also. They also need paving, and they need striping. No matter where you go, we need striping. Harlan Lane Road is your road. We're now averaging, this is a little off topic, but we're also averaging approximately 1 45-13-6 tractor trailer combination going up and down Harlan Lane Road in Ledbetter, where it is posted no truck traffic. I'm not counting the chicken hauler or the feed wagon going up for Mr. Shaddock's. Doesn't count. Local farming community should be allowed to be able to go up and down our county roads. No, the gas tank wagon went down yesterday and took a turn down Ledbetter and then turned and went north and then went over Highway 101. So these are the things that we need to try to apply ourselves to and look for savings in your budget. Here's an opportunity right here. You have a valid offer right here. Maybe not up to spec, but you need to spec out from another business dealer. I believe you're going to hear from another business dealer who sells tractors also, who I have done business with. I've done business with all three, and I have no problem with them. You'll get a fair deal out of all of them. Just spec it out, bid it out, open your bids, let it go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next name, excuse me. Next name I have is Joshua Hollingsworth. And Josh, if you'll, as in the past, name and address for the record, please, sir.
So Joshua Hollingsworth, 215 Dixie Meadow Lane, Carrollton, Georgia. Just on as a county person, I've done business with John Deere, my family, my whole life. I just feel like if the county's going to buy a shovel, we should ask 3 or 4 people what their shovel costs. Ask Roger, ask Sam, ask John Deere Place. And I just feel like it all should be spread out.
Could you speak into the microphone? Pete's having a hard time picking you up, Placer.
You hear me?
I can hear you fine, but he couldn't hear you for the monitor, so.
Start over.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
All right. Joshua Hollingsworth, 215 Dixie Meadow Lane, Carrollton, Georgia. My family's done business with John Deere Place our whole life, and never thought anything but John Deere. But I just feel like if the county is going to buy something, you should get more than one bid. You should have 2 or 3 bids for it as a shovel or $100,000 tractors. You should include Roger at the Deere Farm, Sam Ag America, the Kubota Place, John Deere, everywhere should have a fair chance versus just one bid and let it go on through. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Next name on the list is Roger Harrod. Roger, if you will name and address also, please, sir, for the record.
Roger Harrod, 111 Roger Street, Rookville, Georgia, and business is 850 Highway 27 North, Rookville, Georgia.
Thank you, sir.
Just thank you for the opportunity to be here. And we'll take the opportunity to thank Carroll County for a lot of business I've done in the past. I'm still doing business with you, but been a locally owned business for 25 years, so by far the longest locally owned tractor dealership in Carroll County. Just look back, and I don't know how many of you are aware of what business license costs in Carroll County, but they're rather expensive. So between taxes and business license, close to $500,000 in 25 years, so that I've given to Carroll County. And I guess I was just a little disappointed not to get the opportunity, at least to get an opportunity to build these tractors. I'm not going to sit up here and start talking about what's the best and what's, I've got an agenda, certainly. I sell one kind, so I've got an agenda, but there's plenty of people that you can talk to that are independent, that use all kind of brands that can give you good feedback on what you need to know. Carroll County has never purchased a tractor like they're looking at purchasing now. It's the nicest tractor that they've ever purchased. And so everybody in every brand makes a very nice tractor, makes a very good tractor. So, we can argue all day about mowers and tractors and what's best and this, but anybody can back that up with independent people. And as y'all know, it's like talking about Ford and Chevrolet. But, when little research I got to do with the time that I found out about this, I do believe there's a lot of taxpayer money laying on the table here. And, you could be talking $100,000, $150,000 if we got a chance to see the specs and bid it out. And I don't think anybody up there feels like that could be some good use for money.
Roger, lean in a little closer, please. Thank you.
That could be good use for $150,000. So, I'm just asking that at least get an opportunity, look at it. At the end of the day, you decide this is a tractor you want that y'all got spec out here. I'll go on down the road and I'll sell Carroll County something down the road. But not to get the chance. And, 25 years in Rookville, Georgia, if you've been a business owner, you know how many times you donate to the rec departments, to the high schools, to the county for things, and not counting all the money you pay in. I don't see anything wrong with this chance. You got nothing to lose, might have something to gain. At the end of the day, you make a decision. I sit in this chair like y'all sit in. It's not all black and white like we all believe sometimes. And there's some hard decisions. But you got the numbers in front of you, and then you make the choice. You got nothing to lose. And that's what I think for all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Roger.
Next name I have is Leslie McPherson. Miss Leslie, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Yes, Leslie McPherson, 103.
Pull it down a little bit more.
This is the battery.
Is the battery? Okay, hold on just a second.
I'm almost on it.
Yes, I think the battery must be dead. Pete's gonna. What happens every month? I don't either, but. Must not be Duracells or Eveready or something.
Okay, how's that?
That's fine. I apologize, Ms. McPherson. Thank you for bearing with
No
us.
problem. Leslie McPherson, 103 Chadwick Place, Villa Rica. I don't know anything about tractors, so I'm not up here to say anything about that. I do know a little bit about domestic animals and dogs. And you may think that I spend all my time on the animal control ordinance, but actually 98% of my time is spent on a lot of other things. However, I know it'll be coming back up on the agenda. It's been sent to us. Thank you for taking it up this year, for looking for ways to improve it, making it more humane, maybe more efficient, more enforceable. I would urge you to make sure that the language having to do with extreme weather conditions and shelter is legally enforceable language. That was one of my concerns. I'm not a lawyer. But to quiz the lawyers and make sure that it actually is enforceable. Now, it won't mean a thing if the people going out don't have whatever they need to then enforce it. The other thing, now I am disappointed that it's still, at this point, there's no language proposed to address the 24/7 tethering. Cobb County does not allow 24/7 tethering. Paulding County does not allow it. Haralson County does not allow it. Douglas County does not allow it. Coweta County does not allow it. Carroll County does. Now that is not a reason enough to be different or to follow them. But I think the fact that I don't consider it humane, and aside from that, I think it contradicts the current ordinance, which says the space that you have to have the animal on that can be 4 times the length from nose to tail is supposed to be kept clean and sanitary, which is absolutely impossible when you leave an animal there 24/7. I've heard it quoted that, we wish everybody could have fences. You don't actually have to have a fence not to tether a dog 24/7. But anyway, I thank you for that, and just want to mention one other thing having to do with rabies, because we did have an attack in Villa Rica this past year. Georgia law does require rabies vaccination, and it seems that it would be absolutely common sense that when the officers go out and at any time have interaction with cats, dogs, that sort of thing, that sort of thing be asked for. Can you verify? If they're not wearing the tag that verifies, I think it should be asked for because it is a public safety issue. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that was all I had on public comments. Was there anyone else that wanted to sign up? All right, seeing none, we'll move along to item number 8, a special presentation. This is a proclamation that was to recognize and give honor to the National Boys and Girls Club Week proclamation, and I'll read the proclamation. It's a proclamation for the National Boys and Girls Club Week. Whereas the young people of Carroll County are tomorrow's leaders, and whereas many such young people need professional youth services to help them achieve their full potential, and whereas the Carroll County Boys and Girls Club serves the youth who need us most in our county and community, and whereas Boys and Girls Clubs instill in young people the self-confidence to believe that they can succeed at anything that they put their mind to, and stand at the forefront of the efforts in the areas of academic success, healthy lifestyles, and leadership. And whereas the Boys and Girls Clubs organization of Carroll County help to ensure that young people have a safe, supportive place to spend time and provide them with the quality youth development programs. And whereas the Carroll County Boys and Girls Club will celebrate National Boys and Girls Club Week with some 4,000 clubs and over 2 million more children and teens nationwide. Now, therefore, I, George Chambers, interim chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the week of April 8th through the 12th, 2019, as Boys and Girls Club Week in Carroll County. Furthermore, I encourage all citizens to join me in recognizing and commending the Boys and Girls Clubs for providing these young people of our communities with comprehensive and effective youth development services. In witness thereof, I have here to set my hand and cause the seal of Carroll County, Georgia to be affixed to this proclamation on the 2nd day of April 2019. George Chambers, interim chairman. At this time, I'd like to call Miss Sandra Morris down, and guys, if we could go down and present this to her, please, I'd certainly appreciate it. Oh, great, please bring them too, absolutely, yes. Thank you, Ms. Sander, for what you do, and thank you for bringing these young people along. All right, next item on the agenda, we'll get into our financial session. Item 9.1 is a financial recap from our comptroller, Lisa Searcy. Lisa?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman and Board. Again, in February, we saw continued growth in our revenue. At the end of February, we had collected 85% of our budgeted revenue. Last February, we were at about 78%. So we continue to see strong collections in our property taxes, our auto taxes, and our sales taxes, which are all ahead of last year to this point. Our department managers continue to do a good job of watching their expenditures, and our expenditures are running a little below where they should as far as budget's concerned. So
that's a good thing.
They're all doing a really good job, and our cash in the general fund continues to grow. So it's been a good year.
Good. That's a good positive report. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Searcy?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of comments. I wanted to echo regarding the interest, that's up $112,000 over the budgeted amount. So I thank the Finance Department for renegotiating some of those interest rates and so forth. I did have a few questions. Under expenditures, under welfare, I see that that's at $89,400 budgeted. That was trending the same budget as last year. Looks like we've only expensed $2,400 year to date, and I was just wondering if that was a larger lump sum that you pay toward the end of the year, why that number was so low currently.
That's correct. We still have a payment to DFAX that we will need to make of $79,840, and that is a one-time annual payment that we make to them.
Okay, and under the transit program, looks like that budget amount was $35,000, and year-to-date was only $634. I know there was an issue before regarding invoicing, and I didn't know if this was a part of that same situation or why that number was so low that we've expensed out on that total.
Yes, we have an agreement with Three Rivers for the $35,000, and to this point, they have still not invoiced us. We have been in discussion with them, and they understand that we need an invoice, but they have not presented it at this point.
Okay. Just two other things really quick. Under cost, penalties, and interest, under taxes, when I'm looking at prior year budget amounts and then this year's budget amount, it looks like that had been increased by $578,000, what they expected revenues to be increased, but under penalties and interest, that number remained flat at $578,000. But that's up $90,000. So I feel like that's something we need to look at FY20. I feel like that number, I'm not saying the 578 number without saying the actuals is correct, but to budget, it significantly more in the tax rate and then not try to offset or readjust on interest and penalties. I think that's something we need to look at. The last thing I had was under alcohol licenses, $28,000 was a flat from last year to this year as well, but prior year to date was $26,950, and then CYTD is only $1,050 this year.
Well, you brought that to my attention yesterday, and we did some research and found that those haven't been correctly reported to us. They've been reported in the the business license line item, and we are working with them to get the correct amount on that so we can make an adjustment and get that correct.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, I look for a motion to receive the financial recap.
Make a motion.
Second. All right, all in favor? All opposed? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consideration to purchase 4 Sabre 25 Series mowers for the Public Works Department from SunSouth John Deere in the amount of $179,127.20 per unit, and including a 5-year, $5,000 extended warranty. Call on Charles Pope, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Chairman. It's what we had talked about at the work session to purchase 4 6145 four-wheel drive cab mowers with Tiger 25-foot boom mowers on the side.
Okay, thank you, sir. Look for a motion from the board.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, excuse me. Pollen's got to me. We'll now open the floor for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a few comments regarding this item. I received numerous phone calls today from a plethora of different people regarding the particular topic, and I wanted to discuss how I'm coming to reach my decision to vote to approve these particular mowers. I know that I spent a good bit of time speaking with our department head, Mr. Pope, who had done some research and looking into these tractors. He believes that, you know, safety-wise, as far as the cab and so forth, the heavy-dutiness of the tractor, the application in which it's going to be used with a sidearm, that these are the right tractors, that they're the right fit. And I want to make a comment regarding some of the other tractors. I think that we've got a lot of great dealerships in the area that provide a good product. But to give you an example, you know, my father has had a lot of tractors through the years, and he currently has a Kubota he uses for one application. And it's my understanding that some of the staff had reached out to Kubota just to discuss this particular topic, and I don't even think they were entertaining the opportunity to spec something.
No, they don't have a tractor to fit that application.
Right. And so my point in that particular instance is not saying that Kubota is not a good tractor, because I can vouch myself. I just don't know if it's the right tractor for the right application. I did some further research. I checked with some local municipalities. I've checked with some other government organizations. I've checked with commercial farmers. I've checked with commercial construction companies who have bought nearly every brand that's out there. Some of them have specifically used this tractor for this application. Every one of them said that they thought the John Deere was a superior product based off what we would be using it for. I have not found anyone that said that they wouldn't go back and buy John Deere a higher end as far as the horsepower and the heavy duty that this tractor is going to provide for us. So looking at that research, you know, I was raised on a farm myself, and there's a lot of good tractors out there. We've had a lot ourselves. But I think in this particular application, they're saying that's one of the most strenuous applications you can put on a tractor, is that big, large sidearm mower. So looking at, you know, your research, looking at the research that I've done, I understand that this tractor is probably going to cost more, but sometimes you get what you pay for, and it doesn't mean that the other tractors are inferior. It just means for the application that we're going to be using this, I have not found anyone else that told me that they didn't feel that the John Deere was the right tractor for the product. Maybe I could call 1,000 people and I would find out otherwise, but I reached out to different ones, and that's what I was told. The program that we're looking to purchase this under, speaking with the attorneys, it's my understanding that's a legal process. In addition to that, I know that there's other municipalities that have bought under the same circumstances without bidding it out, because they did feel like that the John Deere was a superior product. So my comments are not to disparage the other brands. I'm just looking at what I have done. I've spent hours, and I'm not saying that I'm an expert or that I know more than these people sitting out in the audience that run dealerships, but my research has found that this is the right tractor for the application. So I just wanted to explain my vote and why I would be supporting this item.
And I'd just like to say that I know you use these every day.
Yeah, we do.
You know what they're capable of. You've used all the brands. And with your recommendation, I'm on board.
We actually bought 12 of these tractors in '09, so they're fixing to be 10 years old. We bought 12 of the John Deeres, and they've served us well.
Right.
And I believe this tractor here, I really think that will get us 15 to 20 years down the road with this product.
And this is your recommendation?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Pope, I understand why we're buying these tractors and the way we're buying them. And I understand that we had a retreat, and it was brought that y'all wanted us to buy them on state bid. I would ask one thing, that when I give a person my word, and when we give a person our word is our bond, and that's only if we don't have our word, we don't have anything. And I will be supporting this because of my word we gave to them. But from this point on, I would, if we ever, because I mean, I have Massey Fergusons, and I know Massey Fergusons are just as good as tractors as this. Once you get to the higher end, when you get to the lower end, I understand that there's a big difference in them. But when you get to the level that these tractors are, I don't know much about the blue tractors, but I do know a lot about the red tractors, and I run them, and I know that Massey makes a comparable tractor that would hold up as well as a John Deere does, because we buy them, and I mean my farm buys them, and we put them. So I ask from this point forward, I would ask the county to always bid to our local, because Roger made a good point. He's paid $500,000 over the past 25 years. I mean, yeah, I guess 25 years. That's a lot of money, and I think that they at least deserve a shot at it, a bid at it. From this going forward, please let's put a bid out, and let's not never get caught like this again, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Could we back up and let's address the actual process? Because there are several people here tonight who have called me, and since we're all here, it'd be nice to hear the process so we're all have the same information, no misinformation. Could we talk about the process of how we came to this price? And talk about the process of how we did this, to where we came with the price, and then so that we can get rid of any misinformation or make sure we all have the same information, because there were some numbers thrown out earlier that say we could save money, we couldn't save money. Could we address that, please?
I don't know if we went and bidded them out, and then if we still chose the John Deere product, that we would get it any cheaper. If we choose another brand, I would feel that might be the best quality of tractor for what we use it for.
Anyone else? All right, we've had, excuse me, had a motion and a second. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Charles, while you're up there, if you will go ahead and address the solid waste contract, please, sir.
Yeah. What we're proposing to do here is sign a new contract with Waste Industries. We've been with them, or we've been with the same contract since 2006. Our contract now is 802,800. We've not had an increase in 13 years now. So they're proposing an increase of $161,220.83, which will bring the total to $964,2083 for the new contract, and if we sign it and move on.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the contract.
Second.
Been motion and second. We're open for discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Board. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a request from the town of Rooteville for a pavilion upgrade. We'll call on District 6 Commissioner Lee Powers, who represents District 5. I've got District 6 on my mind. District 5 Commissioner Lee Powers. I apologize, Lee.
Chairman, I had Barry Huff come to me, and there's a big festival, Root Fest, that they have every September, and we were able to build them a nice pavilion a couple years ago. But having said that, they were not able to put the bathrooms on that pavilion, and they've come to me and requested some money to have some bathrooms installed and built and fill lines put, so that the pavilion could be used more during the year. Plus, we wouldn't have to be bringing in porta potties and stuff. So my request is for $50,000 to give to the city of Rooteville to install some restrooms behind the pavilion. And I think, would you like to say anything, Mr. Huff? Would you like to say anything about what? Okay.
My name name is Barry Huff, and I live in Rootville. A lot of people think of Rootville, a little small community with 200 people and a mile radius from the Root House. But Rootville, really, you have several thousand people as far as the community of Rootville. Not only do we have a great school, we have a lot of great people in the area around Rootville that we consider our community and part of the Rootville community. And y'all have been most gracious to us for the last 10 or 12 years, and we've been able to do a lot of things there with the help of the commissioners, and we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, are you putting that in the form of a motion?
I did.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Multiple seconds? Any further discussion?
Is this coming out of your little pool of money?
You know it is, Tommy.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Thank you all.
Thank y'all, Commissioners.
Next, we'll move into our business session. We'll call on Pete DeBeck, our GIS manager, to bring us a flood damage prevention and resolution ordinance. Please, sir, Pete.
Good evening, Commissioners. I come before you tonight to bring a resolution to amend some definitions and add some language to Chapter 46 of our Code of Ordinance, our Flood Prevention and Damage Ordinance. We spoke about this at the work session. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion
Thank you,
carries.
Commissioners.
Item 10.2 is a resolution pertaining to the Department of Revenue. Call on County Attorney Stacy Blackman for that presentation, please, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is a proposed resolution to designate Alicia Searcy as the comptroller to request information from the Department of Revenue for sales tax information pursuant to Senate Bill 371.
This is just procedural, like we talked about at the board. I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just procedural, yes, ma'am.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Thank you very much. Items 11.1 and 11.2, both items have been pulled and postponed by the applicants. There's nothing else on the agenda.
I make a motion to dismiss.
Second. All those in favor? All opposed?
I had to do that for Vicky.